Hey guys, it's Jackie. Today I did 1262 greatest sum divisible by 3 problem medium. So this problem, it's basically asking, it kind of says it over here, but it's basically asking what is the greatest sum that's divisible by 3 in an array. So what it's asking is that when you sum everything up, so this is going to be 8, 10, 14, so it's going to be 14. And it wants to find what is the greatest number that is divisible by 3 from that sum. So since it's 14, the when you divide by 3, you're gonna get like what 4 point something. So you do 3 times 4, that's 12. So the greatest sum that's divisible by 3 is 12. I mean, I kind of explained that kind of confusing, but I hope you get the point. So basically what we have to do in this problem, or like my approach, it was this problem was like really hard. It took me hours, but I looked through like a lot of hints and everything. So let's explain my approach. So first things first, I don't know why, but to make it easier for me, I don't think I should have used quicksort. Just another thing that's built in C to get like the greatest and like the least numbers, but I decided to do quicksort. So I wanted to first sort through the entire array, so it's like in ascending order. And to review quicksort, let me this is like take 3 of trying to explain quicksort to myself, because I keep confusing myself. So let's make it into 5 numbers so it's easier. So let's say 4. Okay, so for a quicksort is a recursive function or like algorithm. So the quicksort calls itself. So the main properties of quicksort is that it's going to first find a pivot column. For a pivot column, it's usually in the middle to start or to end, and my algorithm is going to start in the end. You can choose whatever one, but mine's going to start at the end, so it's going to choose 4. And to find to like sort the pivot, I guess, to put the pivot in the correct place, we're gonna have an I and a J, because we want to sort so that the pivot is in the correct location first. So what the partition does, partition is putting the pivot in the correct location. So first it's gonna check if the number currently, which is J, if it's greater than the pivot, or like or the pivot is greater than the number at J. So if it is greater, then that means I will move up. I will move up over here, and we're gonna swap. But since the location is the same, it's gonna stay in place. And then next, J is gonna of course iterate. So let me do this. J will go over here, and then it's gonna check if the number is greater than that. Since it isn't, J is gonna move on. Alright, now we're gonna check again. Boom, it isn't. J is gonna move up. Boom. And then since it isn't again, J is gonna move up, and that's the end of the list. But because we know that the numbers over here are all greater than 4, what we can do is that we're gonna iterate through I. We're gonna iterate I once, so I would be over here, and then this is J. And then we're gonna swap 5 and 4, because we know that the numbers over here are all greater than 4, so we can just swap that. So let me change the color. 4 and 5, and then this is where the ending is. So this is gonna be the new pivot, or like, yeah, the new pivot. I guess you could say it like that. Now we have the sort of sorted, quote unquote sorted list. We're gonna oh wow, this is actually like so hard to explain for some reason. So once we have that, we're gonna check over here and here. So we're gonna check if this is sorted correctly, and then if this is also sorted correctly. So that's what the first line and the second line does. So the second line, we're going to start a new quicksort, the same thing that we did for the whole list, into like a smaller list. So it's going to start over here to here, because we already know this is in the correct place. And then the second one is going to start here to here. So we're going to do the same thing again, and then it'll be sorted. Sorry if my explanation is bad. I'm still kind of trying to learn this, but that's how the quicksort kind of works. We're gonna go to the actual code to check if the number is a sum of 3. So after we have that, I'm gonna take a test case over here. So the test case is 2267. That's after we sorted it. So the concept, I'm kind of unsure of how to really explain it well, but all you gotta know is that when you divide a number by 3, it's gonna either have a remainder of 1 or it's gonna have a remainder of 2. And when we subtract the number of remainder of 1 from the sum, we can find that it is divisible by 3. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna separate it into 2 cases. So case 1 would be that the number has a remainder of 1. So when a number has a remainder of 1, we can subtract it from the sum. So once we subtract it from the sum, we're also going to check at the same time if the sum is divisible by 3. So first, that's the case 1. So 2 has a remainder of 1, so I'm going to subtract it. So it's going to be 19 minus 2, which is 17, and then it's going to keep going until it's divisible by 2. So it's going to be 17 minus 2, which is 15. That's the first case. Check if number has a remainder of 1. Since over here everything has a remainder of 2. Since everything has a remainder of 1 over here, we can just have the sum, which is 22. Which is 22, right? Wait, no, which is 19. Right? Yeah, which is 19. Okay. So the sum is just 19 because everything else has a remainder of 1. So once we have those two numbers, we're going to compare. First, we check if it's divisible by 3, which it is. And if it is, and this one isn't, we can just return 15. And we can just ignore this because it's not divisible by 3. Let's go through another example just to make sure. So first, it's going to check all the numbers a remainder of 1. So it's just gonna be 1. And next we're gonna check the numbers of remainder of 2. So it's gonna be this and this. So the whole sum is gonna be equal to 23. So first we subtract the remainder of 1, which is 1, so it's gonna be 22. Since there isn't any more remainder of 1, we're just gonna have this. And next we're gonna check the remainder of 2, which is 5, and that's gonna give us 15 when we subtract it, or not 15, 18 when we subtract it. So now we compare it, and 18 is the one that's divisible by 3, so we get that as our answer. And that's how my code works. This one was definitely a challenge to explain as well as to do, so apologies if I sound if I'm like super confusing in my explanation, because I am low-key I'm sort of questioning why it works, because I don't really get it, but the algorithm works, I guess. I have no idea, bro.